Hello and welcome to MetalCast from Metal Coffee Shop. My name is Heidi Ellsworth, and this is the podcast where you can find out about everything metal, including what are architects thinking and what's out there in the architectural world. We wanted to bring the experts from Western States Metal Roofing here today with Mercedes to really talk about what she's seeing. What are we seeing from the architectural community and what is happening there in that metalscape? So Mercedes, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
So glad to have you. Let's start with an introduction. If you can introduce yourself, and then we'll kind of get into this. I love talking about what's happening out there with the architects.
Yeah. So my name is Mercedes. I am the architectural marketing manager at Western States Metal Roofing. I have a team underneath me. So I handle primarily the Western to Central region. We have another architectural rep, JC, who manages the East to Central, and then we have one specific rep just for California because California is so big. So yeah, we have a great team at Western States Metal Roofing. We work really hard to really just keep with the trends and relay all the information that we can relay back to the management. So
yeah. I love it. And of course, that's all about getting specified, getting more metal in the specs, and having architects really understand on how important it is. So you're attending the AIA Conference in June, and really going to be talking to a lot of, obviously, architects who are there to get their CEUs, but also just to find out more information and find out how they can improve their specs and their designs. Tell us a little bit about that show, and really how do you and Western States Metal participate in that? Tell us a little bit.
Yeah, so a little bit about AIA. It's, the biggest, largest conference in architecture and design. So it gathers thousands of architects, specifiers, designers, and product manufacturers for several days of education, networking, collaboration, and then obviously, displays of our products and such. But for manufacturers like us, it's valuable because it's where design conversations start early, often years before projects break ground and even come to fruition. It's really where brainstorming starts. So architects really come to AIA to look for materials to help them solve design challenges. And being part of those conversations really allows us to share what we can do architecturally while also learning what architects are actually looking for and trying to achieve. Yeah. I think that AIA is it's less about selling and more about building relationships and becoming more of a technical resource for the design community.
Yeah, a little bit of problem solving in there.
Yeah, and just meeting each other, and passing ideas back and forth. It really is such a good time.
I love it. Just for everybody out there, talk to us a little bit about the products of Western States Metal Roofing and kind of where give everybody who may not know a little bit of an overview on what you offer.
Yeah, so we are a metal panel manufacturer. We do roofing, siding, trims and flashings. We have one of the largest color selections and specialty prints and, all the things that you could think about when it comes to roofing and siding. We have four locations across the United States, Phoenix, Tucson, Texas, and Spokane Valley, Washington, with more to come, hopefully here in the future. But yeah, we not only have painted panels and specialty prints, but we have copper, corten, aluminum. So anything metal that you could think of, we are pumping it out of our warehouse.
Yeah. And it's not just roofing, right? You're doing siding also?
Yeah, we do anything architectural design related. We do siding. I mean, we have architects using our metal for landscaping, planters, we have edging, we have anything structural. We have that as well.
Okay, so all the metal buildings and barndominiums and all that great stuff that's going on out there.
Yes, I love that you said barndominiums because that's like one of my favorite designs. Yeah.
And so you're able to really talk to the architects on, I mean, talk about a trend, right? That's a huge trend is metal buildings or barndominiums, but using metal in residential building. What are you seeing on that trend?
On residential, I definitely feel like we're going in the way of modern lately. But you're also seeing, you know, a lot of our rosewood, our wood tones used as like soffits, and a lot of, you know, architects are using it as siding to look like wood, but you have like the sustainability and longevity of metal. So I think that we're seeing metal used a lot more in residential. Obviously, you see it a lot in commercial, but in residential to give it more of that like modern technology, but traditional feel, you know?
Yeah. That's what I'm seeing too. When I look at really, you know, those barndominiums, man, they are so dang cool.
Yeah.
And it's the metal structure that they're doing. So instead of post frame, and sometimes it kind of, you know, sometimes it isn't metal on the siding. It's usually almost always metal roofing. But when you think about, you know, I know the architects are thinking also not just the look, not just the design, but also performance.
Yeah.
And with the extreme weather that's going on from hail to fire to winds, it seems like those conversations you're having with architects are definitely kind of going across all of those platforms. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So you're seeing a lot of like counties. They're making a lot of residents get rid of wood shingles or wood roofing or other roofing systems because of everything that's happening with forest fires and things like that. So architects really do pay a lot of attention to, you know, fire class rating, wind uplifting, you know, the climate that they're going to be in. They pay a lot of attention to that, but just to think about the energy efficiency, sustainability, and the longevity that comes with metal, those are probably the top bullet points that architects want to hit when we have a meeting. Yes, it looks great. And aesthetically, I mean, who wouldn't want a metal roof or who wouldn't want metal siding? But I think that the reality of it is a lot of architects are looking at metal for the other side of things. Is it energy efficient? Is it sustainable? How long is this going to last my client? You know, those types of things.
Yeah. And you have someone who just covers only California, because I'm guessing California right now is hopping with all the rebuilding that's going on down in LA and some of the building codes and what's going on around fire. Metal is like fitting the bill.
Yes. Yep. She is going to be booked and she's going to be busy.
I love it. I love that. What are some of the other trends that kind of just some of the trends that you're seeing out there? I know the wood paneling and the wood patterns is so true, but when you're kind of talking both on commercial too, some of the just architectural shapes of buildings and what you do to make those metal panels and those facades are so cool.
Yeah. So a lot of trends that I see, especially right now, are the modern vertical siding for residential and mixed use commercial. But a lot of matte and like textured finishes, you know, that give more of like a natural finish. I would say obviously the weathered and patina style, that's our niche. I say it in every meeting. It's our niche. It's what we specialize in. We have any rusted copper Corten specialty print that you could imagine. We have it. But I think that allows, it's really popular because it allows architects to have that character in their design, but they don't have to think about the maintenance that comes along with the natural rusted material.
Right.
Another trend, like I just said, is energy efficiency, durability, especially right now in California and different climates with intense like sun exposure. And then panel profiles too that create, like you said, the lines and the depths that kind of give their projects more life. We have so many different panel profiles to use from, but we have the newest like Westrix coming out, you know, so I think that'll really be exciting for them to kind of see what they can integrate into their designs. I think anything to create contrast and architectural rhythm is what's trending.
I do too. And performance,
Yes.
that perform. And I'm with you 100% energy, right? That's everybody's looking at that. How can they be more energy efficient? And I think that's going to get even more so now with everything that's going on. People are going to continue to kind of go down that side. So I'm just really, and I think, for folks out there, so you have the conversation, you're problem solving, you're at AI, you're kind of going through all this, taking those conversations to the next spec level. How do you interact with architects on helping them actually get your products into the specs, making sure you have all those different benefits and unique colors, the different things, getting all that into the specs? And then how do you work with the contractors? Kind of like, what's that process through?
Sure. Yeah. So our role typically and usually begins as like a technical design partner in the early specification phase. So with architects, we help them with like selecting the right panel profile, like what's the design intent for the roof? Is it a wall application? So basically panel profile. We help them by providing CAD details and specifications like drawings and project manuals. We discuss gauge, substrate, coating options. A big portion of our job and interaction is sharing samples.
Oh, yeah.
Like 75% of our week, we're having a sample meeting, comparing and contrasting different colors, different, specialty prints. Really so they could see them, in light in their surrounding materials. Also, we compare and contrast like, okay, I know you really like this one, but it might not be cost effective. Right. So we compare, colors in that situation. But because we're the manufacturer and we actually manufacture the panels ourselves, we can have really detailed conversations about what's feasible, how certain profiles will perform, and how details will translate from drawings to fabrication to installation. So with that, we have those conversations up front with architects, and we're really, really transparent and honest about the directions that we need to go, which then helps them with the contractors.
Yeah, that makes sense. And because obviously the architects are doing that, then they're going to the building owner, and then it's going to the contractors. So one of the things I've seen with you all is you are great with contractors, right? The contractors, you guys just really understand it. How do you kind of have that conversation with your contractors on just, making them aware really that these specs are out there, that you could be seeing them. This is how it works. Kind of that education, kind of like this podcast, right now, educating the contractors to be aware of the specification and the architectural community and getting ready so that they can be certified, trained, they understand the products. How do you kind of do that?
Yeah. So really we are just working partner to partner, right? We partner with these architects. We help them in any way that we can. We get the information on what contractor that they might even be interested in for this project. And then we try to fill that gap of, how can we then help this architect get in communication with this contractor to all kind of be in cahoots with each other, right? And really be on the same page, because communication is key. And the more that we're communicating early on in the design process, the easier it will be for everybody.
Right.
Yeah. So I think really just educating the contractor on what the project will be about, as far as like, is it a commercial, is it a residential, finding the best contractor for that fit. But in all reality, most architects already have an idea of what contractor they're going to use.
That's good. That's good, because now you can get them into your orbit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Most contractors who I've talked to, they really appreciate that. They want to be hand in hand with the architect, with the home builder, whether it's the home builder or, the homeowner, the business owner, because you're doing so much across the board on so many different levels.
Yeah.
So What are some of the things that you're seeing? I'm just kind of thinking about you going to this AIA meeting and showing the architects and stuff. What are some of the things you're seeing just overall in the market that are kind of out on the horizon? I know you guys work with Sherwin-Williams and how important that coding is. What are some of the things that you're going to be talking to the architects about to really kind of make sure that they're getting all the information like this podcast today?
Yeah, so we really try to help bridge the gap between design intent and real world construction. So a good amount of our, feedback at the show will be about how we have the widest color selection, just really, educating them on what we have as far as our standard colors, matte finishes, specialty prints, all of the things, right? Going through all of our different profiles, our customizable options that we have. So yeah, we'll touch base on what partnerships we have as far as like Sherwin-Williams and things like that, but we'll really just hone in on what resources we have available for them. So on top of our panel profiles, we'll make sure that they know that we have samples, we have our 3D textures, and our e-samples. Like that's something that's really big in the architectural design industry because it really just allows them to be more hands-on and creative in that way. And all of our 3D textures and e-samples are integrated into any of their rendering softwares. So,
nice.
Yeah, it's just the way of life now, I think.
Yeah.
Everything is so digital. And then also just being available for them as a resource. I think detailing support is kind of left unseen sometimes. We're out here, this is what we have, this is what we have, this is what we have. But we also have a very knowledgeable team. And I think having the best of that team at AIA will definitely showcase that. Sometimes, yes, an idea looks great, like a design idea looks great conceptually. Right.
But can you do it?
It's going to need a little refinement to actually be buildable. And that's what our team helps, showcases. You have so many resources to help this design come to life and you need to utilize that,
Right. And you, like we talked about earlier, you do structural too, right? Yeah. So if an architect really wants to do a whole building, a whole metal building, they can work with you on that.
Yeah. We have core 10 structured tubes, beams. I mean, we have things that are available that a lot of architects don't know. So
yeah. I think that's key because one of the things we keep hearing is that the kind of evolution and just the push for that metal buildings in to stand up to the elements, and especially on the fire front. And so when you think about being able to offer that to the architects, that kind of one stop for that whole building in metal design, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think that what you had just said, really putting yourself out there and letting people know, this is what we have, as far as environmental, the way of everything right now. I know everyone looks at that price tag of a metal building, a metal roof or a metal siding, but in the long run, you're going to save yourself so much stress and money in the long run because, you spent the time and effort on it in the beginning. So,
well, and, really, when you think about it, you are able to help those architects to then get to the right erectors, to get to the right contractors, to be able to put that together and giving them the information up front on lifetime, right? Mm-hmm. Lifetime costing.
Yes.
That building, I would think as an architect, I would want to be able to share that with my customers, right? The owners, the building owners, that this building is going to last. You aren't going to have to worry about replacing the roof. You're not going to have to worry about replacing the siding. You're just going to, and maintenance is minimal. Yeah.
Yep. Nope. That's one of my pressure points when I give my presentations is this roof could probably outlive you, if you're being honest.
What we want.
Yeah, exactly. It won't even be your problem when it's time to take it down.
Yeah. I mean, I think I think that's one of the things that I'm just hearing a lot when it comes to trends and what people are talking about is durability. Yeah. And that's truly the sustainable solution, is something that doesn't have to go in the landfill. It can be, not only will last a long time, but then ultimately can be recycled. And the architects, from what I've seen with architects, they love that. They love the environmental.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sustainability.
Yes, ma'am.
That is so cool. You know, I know you're going to AIA and you're going to be talking to a lot of architects, and you're going to be also, you know, talking to them in their booth, showing them everything. I would love for you just to talk a little bit about what you do outside of the big show, the big AIA show. You're doing continuing education, I'm guessing, all the time, presenting to architects throughout the year. I don't know if all the contractors or erectors or builders out there realize how much work you and your team do with architects year round. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So we are collaborating with architects day in and day out. You know, I'm grateful to now have a team underneath me to do that because it's definitely a lot for one little person. But yeah, we are going to meetings where a lot of our time is spent doing lunch and learn presentations on our company. So I call them product presentations because they're not necessarily CEU credited, but our feedback on them is just so amazing. I mean, it gives us a chance to go into these offices and really sit down with these architects and collaborate, you know, which collaboration is just massive in this industry, especially early on. Again, like I said, it gives us the chance to really plant seeds, and then it'll be years before we even see them come to fruition. But we are out here, we're giving lunch presentations on our company. We're collaborating with these architects on, you know, what they're working on, what are some design trends that they're seeing that we might not have, you know. A big portion of our job is reporting back to, you know, our vice presidents and saying, hey, you know, architects are wondering if we're ever going to get this color or this print, or, you know, is this something that we could look into or customize? So really taking the design trends and reporting back to home and being like, maybe this is something that we could think about doing in the future, you know?
Yeah. And then you're able at that point, as you have these meetings and find out what all the projects are, you're able to bring in your erectors and your contractors to bid on that work, or to even connect them. Do they ever go to the meetings with you?
No, so I haven't had any contractors or installers come with me, but I have tapped in my sales team from time to time, you know, to come to a meeting with me, so they could potentially get ahead of that contractor or jump on it before someone else, you know, is chosen. Because ultimately, it comes down to, yes, we could be specified. We could be specified on so many projects, but really it comes down to us being chosen in the end, you know?
Right. Yeah.
So
that's the conversion. Yeah.
Right. While we're out here making great relationships with architects, we also need our other side of things, the sales team and our other reps making good relationships with the contractors and great, you know, relationships with installers and roofers. So we're all, you know, kind of working in this like tornado of, you know, of metal.
Well, for the erectors, the contractors, the roofers, the siders, everybody who's listening to this podcast, what is some of your suggestions? What's your advice to them on how to get in early? How to get in early with you and with those architects? Just ask, or what are some of the things they can do to be more collaborative?
Sure. So it all starts with the architect and us, right? Like I said, early collaboration is one of the biggest factors when it comes to metal systems. When we are involved early in the design phase, we can ensure that panel profiles are appropriate for the roof and the pitch. Attachment systems are clearly detailed, transitions, trim conditions, all of the things. That way, when the contractor does get involved, all of the project documents and details are aligned with how our system is actually manufactured and installed. So it really reduces improv on the field. It minimizes change orders. It helps keep the schedules on track. So really it's all on the architect at the end of the day. You know, they're getting in contact with us. This is our design. What is your advice? How would you, as a manufacturer, what are the details that you would want us to know? Include us on that side, and then include the contractor in on these conversations as well. You know, that way we can all work together in the pre-construction phase and in the design phase. That way, when it's time to actually break ground, we're all on the same page and the schedule stays, you know,
right on
schedule.
Yeah. Well, and I guess, you know, we can kind of say the same thing then too. Your advice to architects is to get you and, you know, their choice of contractors or erectors, whoever it may be, involved early so that they are able to really work through a lot of those decisions, because you're right. You know, Western States Metal Roofing knows about the fabrication, making the panels, making sure that everything's right. But the contractor knows about installing it.
Yep.
And what those types of things the architect should be thinking about, different installation styles, weather, all of those kind of things. So I love that. It's kind of like that triangle that really makes for success.
So you do it early on. You don't have to deal with the, you know, the delays that happened and the errors that happened, because, you know, obviously things happen. But if we all kind of have that collaboration and that conversation earlier, then it's totally preventative in the long run, you know?
Yeah. I love it. Wow. How fun. Well, I'm excited for you, Mercedes, and the AIA show in June for, and I'm going to put you on the spot here, but where is it? And I know it's in June.
Yeah. So San Diego, and I believe it's like June 3rd through the 5th. Is when the actual show is and when the convention is. I know they have educational classes all week, but it's really fun. Right. You know, I really recommend all architects to sign up and come and be a part of it. Meet different people, meet different manufacturers, you know, just get inspired. It really is just a fun time.
I love that. I think, honestly, for everybody listening out there, if you can go to the AIA show, I've been many times, it's amazing. What you see there has a little bit different look than the contractor shows. It's just very pretty, very architectural, edgy. Yeah.
It's so funny because I tell people all the time, like, you know, architects are so design and trendy, and like we dress different at these shows. Like, it's so
yeah, it is. It's so good. Oh my gosh. Well, Mercedes, thank you. Good luck at the show. And hopefully all of you listening will join them. Go by the Western States Metal booth. Be sure to check it out. Also on Metal Coffee Shop, check out the directory for Western States Metal. I'm telling you, they do so much. And it's not just roofing. It's everything. So not that roofing is the top, but yeah, there we go.
Yeah. And let us know, like, to all the architects and contractors, anybody attending, like, we would love to take you to dinner, take you to lunch, you know, let us know. We will definitely be available for you all week. So thank you, Heidi, so much. It was so nice to meet you.
That's a great invitation. I hope a lot of people take you up on that. That is awesome.
My email's just like...
That's perfect. That's perfect. Thank you so much. And thank you all for listening. This is so great. I mean, this is like an insight to what it really means. Get involved with your manufacturer, get involved with Western States Metal. And you can check all of that out on their directory on Metal Coffee Shop. Also check out all the podcasts for MetalCast underneath the RLW, and be sure to subscribe and set those notifications. We'll be seeing you next time on MetalCast.